Hey, now chapters 1, 2, and 3, typically in Anatomy 1, we really don't go over it. I go over it because I protect y'all from the fact that you did not have a great biology teacher in high school, you didn't pay attention, whatever the reasoning. I try to make sure that you have a basic grounded, founded information. Some of the things that I find really important is, well, the basic definition of anatomy and physiology. What is anatomy? Well, that's the study of the structures in the body and the relationships. We're going to talk about that mostly in 1 and 2. And physiology is, how does the body function? How does the body work together to carry this information together? And you can't have one without the other. That's why this class is so important, and that's why it's so interesting. This class, we're going to be talking about a lot of diseases and diagnoses, and especially in 2, when you get to it, you'll be able to put the stuff together that we've talked about and understand kind of what's going on. Levels of structural organization, your final exam will probably ask you about something like this because it's really important to figure out, how does things start? Well, atom to a cell, how do cells group together? Well, then we get, tissue, how many similar tissues work together? Well, that's an organ. How do similar organs work together? Well, that's an organ system. Those should be reviewed for you. If they're not, I suggest putting a little more time and effort making sure that you have it because it's important. Life functions. It's not just about getting food and water to survive. You're not considered alive if you don't do all these things. Don't get offended if you can't reproduce. It's just a definition. So what I mean by that is, okay, movement. You have to be able to move. It's a necessary life function for you to move from one area to another to get food, one area to another to drink water, one area to the other to go to the bathroom, etc. Responsiveness. Do you have the ability to respond to any stimuli around you? A bee is stinging you. Do you have that reaction that most people have of swatting it away? Okay, that's responsiveness. Digestion, you need to intake food and break it down into the components that's necessary to sustain your body. And you'll learn in digestion the different parts of the digestive system and what they do to break it down and what you take out of it to survive. Okay? Digestion, like I just meant, metabolism, any and all chemical reactions in your body increase your metabolism. Okay? Your metabolism is important. Women, we know about this. We talk about metabolism. We talk about the fact if our metabolism is slow, we're not losing weight and we're probably gaining weight and feeling kind of sluggish. That's metabolism. Excretion, any and all waste in our body have to be removed. Okay? Reproductive. Okay? Reproductive is not necessarily producing a youngin'. Reproductive is cells reproducing as well. So if cells are not reproducing cells constantly in different areas of our body, we will not sustain life. Okay? And growth. Okay? Growth doesn't mean just growth in height. It's growth in all areas of our body. So we should be growing constantly. Survival needs. We need nutrients to survive. Okay? What do we need? That's the time where you're supposed to be rattling this off. Nutrients, potassium, calcium, sodium, vitamins that we can't intake. Water, we need water all the time. Oxygen, and we need a sustained temperature. Our body only likes to be around what we're at right now, 37 degrees centigrade. Okay? Homeostasis, you have talked about this 1,000 times, I guarantee you, in high school biology. Now, if you junked it, that's probably on you, but you've definitely talked about it. Homeostasis is maintaining a life structure within your body that all of the things we've talked about are happily and easily done. Okay? We're going to talk about orientation direction terms, superior, on top, inferior, below. That does head to toe. Okay, that's also shoulders are superior to my waist. Okay, so you have to be able to convert that to any part of your body. Ventral, which is the front portion of your body, and dorsal, which will be the back portion of the body. And like I said in class, if you think about it and you can only remember one side, dorsal is the easiest because we always see these shows about sharks, dorsal fin, that's on the back side of the body. Okay, medial is toward the middle or midline of the body, and lateral is away from the midline of the body. You have to get these terms going because when we get to muscles, some of the terms are depending on your knowledge of this. And if you don't know this knowledge, these muscles are not going to be easy for you to remember. Okay? Intermediate is in between, proximal and distal. Proximal means close to, no matter if it's a bone, a muscle, skin, anything. Okay? Proximal is close to yourself. Distal is far away from the location you're talking about. And just think about distance. Okay? Superficial, that'd be kind of like if I poked myself with this paperclip, not going very far. Okay? Deep, okay, is more internal, and I don't have a knife, but if I was to poke myself with a knife or a scalpel, that's going to go much deeper into my body. Okay? You need to know the regions of the body. You're going to have to pull out the book and actually study them. Okay? So definitely go through and look at it. You're going to have to look at body planes of the body. You're going to have to understand what cut I'm trying to explain through a question on the exam. Okay? Frontal, transverse, median, those are all real important body planes. Okay? Body cavities, same thing. You want to definitely go in to the book and learn the cavities of the body because we'll talk about them in lab briefly, but I'm going to ask you an exam question about it definitely. Okay, so you have to know them. If I were to talk about a portion of your body, make sure you know the 9 cuts of the body or the 9 portions of your body. You know, right hypochondriac, epigastric, left hypochondriac, and so on. Again, these are all things you need to pull out the book and learn. Okay? And chemistry. Oh dear God, I hope you know chemistry. States of matter. What are they? There's 3. Solid, liquid, and gas. You need to know all 3. That should be rattling. That's middle school at this point. Okay? What is energy? It's the capacity to do any type of work. So energy is occurring when work is being done. Okay? So you're using energy. You're like, what do I need all this chemistry for in lecture of anatomy and physiology? Because if I bring up something and I say, boy, it's using a lot of energy here, and you're going, why? There's movement, there's motion, energy's being used, therefore ATP has to be made to replenish it. That's the tie-in that I'll use in this class. That's why I'm giving you these basics. Kinetic, potential energy, the 2 types of energy I talked about in class. Make sure you know the difference between the 2. Proton, neutron, and electron. The only time I'm going to talk about this for the rest of the semester is going to be on your next exam, on exam 1. So I want you to know it, okay? You should. Now bonds, ionic and covalent, are the 2 I'm going to talk about. They're going to be mentioned on your exam, and you're going to have to understand them throughout this course. So make sure that ionic, transfer, covalent, share, and you understand what the transfer is of electrons, okay, which changes the sign. Okay, it's more positive or more negative depending on what we're talking about. Covalent is 2 atoms sharing them. So are the signs being changed? No, they're not. Excuse me. Okay, we talk about 3 different reactions. Go through, I can tell you they're on the first exam. Okay, synthesis, decomposition, exchange reactions. What are they and what makes them term the way they are? Okay, what occurs in there? You should be able to say, okay, draw me a decomposition. You should be able to do it. If I say draw me a synthesis reaction, you should be able to do it. Same with exchange. Okay. Acid and bases, oh dear God, this is middle school still. You should know what an acid and a base are on the chart. What is their scores on that acid-base chart? You know, what is their pH level? Okay, what is the range for an acid and a base? Okay, and any basic structures of either one. Buffer is really important and really interesting. It provides an acid-base balance in your body. Your body has tons of liquid in it and fluid you're going to learn about, and tissue. None of it wants to be too acidic or too basic than its appropriate condition. Let's take, for instance, your stomach. Stomach has a pH of about 2, which is acidic. Okay? It doesn't want to get down to a pH of 1, because then you're going to have that heartburn condition and pain that you're having. And it doesn't want to get basic to a 5. That's neutralizing, and it's not going to break down the necessary components that are hitting your stomach. So it wants to be at 2. So everything in our body needs to be at a specific level. Buffers help control it. It makes things that are too acidic more basic, and it makes things that are too basic more acidic. Okay. Cells. I hope you know the plasma membrane. Look over the notes at what they are. Look over diffusion, active and passive diffusion. What's the difference between the two? Active requires ATP. Okay, and there's several examples for passive. Make sure you know those different examples because they'll be on the test and I'll be asking you, is it passive or active? Okay. I talked about what happens to red blood cells in solution, okay, and that was hypotonic, hypertonic, and isotonic. Okay, make sure you know the difference between the 3. And the last one is know your organelles. Know your basic organelles in an animal cell. This is not plant A and P. Plants are not important to me. Okay, so you do not need to know what chlorophyll is. Okay, you're not studying it in this class. Know your basic animal cell structures, especially the plasma membrane, and be able to answer questions about what they basically do and where they're found. This is just basic. This is 1, 2, and 3. This should be the easiest chapter I get into for the rest of the semester. Okay? Read, 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 and practice. Get into the example now, get into the great habit now of doing that, and you'll become successful at the more difficult chapters that are about to hit you, like chapter 4. Okay? Good luck.